Sudan has been plagued by civil war, dating back to its independence from Britain in 1956. The first civil war that lasted up to 1972 is estimated to have claimed somewhere between 500,000 to 1 million lives. The main reason for the endless war was due to differences in religious practices, ethnicity, politics, and economics. The Arabs from the north dominated the country in various ways and even controlled the government since independence. The southern part, mainly black African Christians, felt ostracized, leading to lasting tensions between the two regions. After decades of civil war, a referendum held on the 9th of July 2011 saw the southern part of the country gain independence from the larger Sudan. This gave birth to the newest sovereign state known as South Sudan. Fast forward to 2023. Sudan has found itself in yet another war, where it's reported that more than 500 people have lost their lives and thousands have been injured since fighting broke out in April of this year. The intense fighting has also left thousands of residents fleeing to neighboring countries such as Ethiopia and Chad, leading to fears that the crisis may spill over to other countries. The international community and foreign countries have been evacuating their citizens and essential staff. The fighting is between two rival military factions, one led by Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, the leader of the Sudanese Armed Forces, SAF, and Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo, aka Hemeti, the head of the Paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF. The two men worked hand in glove and carried out a coup together, but now their battle for supremacy is tearing Sudan apart. To get a better understanding of where all this conflict is rooted, please pay attention to the following. The relationship between the two generals has a long history. During a revolt in Darfur, a region located in the western part of the country, in 2003, the two worked hand in hand. Trouble for the Sudan government began when non-Arab minorities of African descent rebelled against it due to unwarranted oppression and persecution. The then President Omar Hassan Ahmad al-Bashir directed General Burhan to quell the situation by all means necessary. Burhan in turn sought the help of Dagalo, also known as Hemeti, due to his use of brute force, and with the endorsement of the president, they formed a new militia known as Janjaweed. Reports indicate that the group carried out unimaginable atrocities and serious human rights violations on the local communities that led to loss of hundreds of thousands of lives and left many maimed. This caused a huge uproar and was vehemently condemned by the international community. Over time, RSF grew massively such that it almost matched the regular army. Dagalo even began supplying troops to Yemen for the Saudi-led coalition. President Bashir came to heavily rely on the RSF to counterbalance the regular army, and he rested easy with the hope that neither of the two factions would depose him without the other. In other words, he saw little or no possibility of collusion between the two to get him out of power. However, in April 2019, the two ousted him in a coup after months of civilian protests. Before the end of 2019, a civilian government, overseen by a sovereign council, was formed after the generals signed an agreement with the protesters. The council was led by General Burhan and deputized by General Dagalo. However, in October 2021, they overthrew the civilian-led government and assumed the role of head of state and deputy respectively. The question is, what is the war about currently? Among some other seemingly less important issues, the main one that has really sparked the conflict is an attempt by General Burhan to integrate the RSF into Sudan's army. Burhan had wanted the integration to occur within 2 years, so as to consolidate his rule over the military establishment, whereas Dagalo wanted this to happen after 10 years. The disagreement led Dagalo to immobilize more of his forces in the capital city Khartoum and its neighborhoods, and eventually launched attacks, among them on an airport in the north of the country. In retaliation, Burhan utilized the army in a bid to eliminate his now rival. The Sudan population is thus being held hostage as the two battle to the death for political and economic ambitions. Dagalo is not ready to let go, as he feels that his partner in crime has thrown him under the bus. Owing to huge amounts of money garnered from hiring of troops and weapons, not to mention the control of some of the scarce resources in Sudan, such as gold mines, Dagalo is not willing to relinquish any of them. Burhan has also resisted handing power over to a civilian-led government and insists on holding an election and handing over to the elected government, which may again be overseen by him. The international community has condemned the military takeover and called for a return to democracy. There are fears that a continued conflict may eventually lead to a civil war, thus destabilizing the third largest country in Africa by size. External influences are seen to be exacerbating the already volatile situation, with both sides reportedly receiving support from regional and global powers. As a result, it is no surprise that external actors are interested in the country's internal affairs. Some of the key external actors involved include the United States, China, Russia, Egypt, Libya, and some Gulf states. Some countries have also pointed fingers at the United States military deployment in the country in a pretext to evacuate its trapped citizens. According to John Kirby, the Secretary of State for Public Affairs and Public Diplomacy, the Pentagon has positioned military forces and capabilities nearby just for contingency purposes, in case they'd be needed for evacuation. However, some countries are quite suspicious of US intentions owing to its long history of unjustified military interventions in many countries that has left them totally devastated beyond repair.
By that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs," meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran."
According to General Wesley Clark, in 2007, the US planned to invade 7 countries, among them Sudan. The question is, has Sudan's time come? Please let me know in the comments below. Sudan's stability is crucial to the stability of the Horn of Africa. At the time of making this video, however, the battle rages on, and despite numerous calls for a ceasefire, this has so far hit a brick wall. It remains to be seen how all this turns out.